Today we have a special guest. Um, Introduction to Joseph Owolabi. Joseph Owolabi is the founder of Rubicola Consulting, a green finance and risk advisory firm with offices in Australia and Nigeria. With a distinguished career in finance and accounting, Mr. Owolabi has been at the forefront of promoting ethical practices and sustainable initiatives within the accounting profession, corporate and public sector. As an influential leader, he has played a significant role in shaping the global discourse on ethics and sustainability, advocating for responsible business practices that create long-term value for organizations and society at large. Through his extensive experience and expertise, he has become a trusted voice in the realm of ethical decision-making and driving sustainable growth in the corporate world. We now have a couple of questions to Joseph on ethics. First one, throughout your career, you've emphasized the importance of ethics in accounting. Why do you believe ethical behavior is so crucial in the finance and accounting industry, and how can professionals ensure they maintain high ethical standards? Yeah.
Thank you, Belinda. It's a privilege for me to be part of this podcast experience, and I look forward to being able to share my thoughts and insight with you today. In terms of your first question, why ethics is important to finance professionals, I think it's because of the role we play in society. Finance professionals, more often than not, are trusted advisors, either in their organization or to clients, to public sector entities, governments, as well as corporates. So by virtue of our relationship with our clients, we have access to private information about their financial situation. And so there's an element of trust that comes with being part of this industry. And so that trust and confidence that the market puts on us or individuals when we advise small and medium-sized entities, it's so crucial. In terms of why and how financial professionals can uphold this, I think being part of a professional organization ensures that they have the right skills and experience to be able to carry on that professional duty. So most accountants would typically be part of a PAO, professional accounting organization, where they would have gone through the qualification experience, the learning, they would have an ethical component to it, and they also have the practical experience that allows them to be able to play their role.
Yes. From your perspective, what are the most significant ethical dilemmas that business leaders face in today's rapidly changing world, and how can they approach this dilemma in a principled manner?
So over the years, Belinda, it's been the agency challenge, right? So most times, like we know, the management of the organization might be different from the owner. So even in small and medium-sized enterprises, the second, third generation, the founders would have been gone, and you find that it's new management, and it's a bit different from those that own the company, or in large corporates, public sector, or even in the government, where citizens are not the one running the social enterprises that provide all of the services that people need in the organization. So the agency principle has long been that reason. But more recently, ESG is becoming a critical part of that, right? And with other objectives outside of profit and loss, outside of having a robust balance sheet, there are responsibilities to the community where organizations operate. There are responsibilities around emissions, there are responsibilities around social. How do we treat our people? These are some of the drivers that we've seen in recent times.
Thank you. We go to ethical behavior and sustainability often go hand in hand. In your experience, how can organizations strike a balance between financial objectives and long-term sustainable practices?
So that's always been the difficult part of the equation. Organizations know that they need to act responsibly, but in the last few years or so, there's been that challenge to really think about what are the benefits, the material benefits of acting responsibly, especially where in areas or countries where the government doesn't have codes or standards in place to punish, or punitive measures to punish those that do not comply. However, we know that to have the social license to operate, organizations need to act with that conscience, that they care about the environment, that they care about their people, that they care about the world at large. We've seen that in recent times, research has shown that in terms of long-term sustainability, it continues to drive value. So it's not just about short-termism and the market's quarterly updates. It's about looking into the future, long-term strategy of the organization.
Thank you for that. Okay, now we talk about ethical leadership. Ethical leadership is vital for promoting a culture of integrity within organizations. What advice would you give to young professionals aspiring to become ethical leaders in their careers?
Ethics is a challenging one, right? Because sometimes it's not clear cut what is right and wrong. And that's where the role of mentors come into play, and having leaders that have gone ahead of you to be able to draw on. So there are obviously ethical models and concepts that we can draw on when we come into that area, but nothing replaces professional judgment. And professional judgment grows with time. So I would encourage young professionals to reach out to mentors, supervisors within the organization when they come to issues that are not clear cut. When they approach ethical dilemmas, they should reach out to their mentors and in their organizations, but also draw on models that would help them in solving those dilemmas.
Yeah, thank you for that. We come to another thing on ethical principles. The global pandemic highlighted the importance of resilience and adaptability. How can organizations apply ethical principles and sustainable practices to build more resilient business models for the future?
Thank you. And that's an interesting one. COVID taught us all the importance of thinking about mental wellness. And I think everybody understands how challenged we were just being stuck at home for months, in some cases close to a year, in places like Melbourne, Australia, and obviously Far East in China and Hong Kong, where the stay-at-home lockdowns were very, very difficult and harsh for people. So I think COVID really emphasized the need to look after one another, and organizations need to care about people beyond just the operations, to think about public health and how public health can impact on businesses. We saw that with COVID. Nobody thought about digital transformation until COVID, and now we know that a number of tasks can be completed remotely without being in the office. I think it provides a challenge to some of those issues we've struggled with in the past, with work-life balance. How do we ensure that people can bring their own self to work and still pursue other areas of interest? So I think ESG has become a front burner due to COVID, and that's very interesting and useful to see.
We have a couple of questions on sustainability for you. First one being, sustainability is a pressing concern for businesses today. How can organizations effectively integrate sustainability into their core strategies, and what role can accountants play in driving this transformation?
I think sustainability has to be at the core of the strategy of organizations. What I've seen working with several organizations is that sometimes it's approached from a tick the box perspective. However, management should ensure that there's buy-in from the top. So the tone at the top, there should be that board sponsorship and that understanding that we want to have sustainability embedded in the organization. That's the first thing. The other thing that to consider is materiality. What are the key issues that a business should focus on? I think if organizations approach it from this point of view, then it would have that long-lasting impact and effect on the organization.
Yes, good. Next, about on sustainability. Many businesses face challenges in measuring and reporting their sustainability efforts. How can accounting professionals contribute to the development of robust sustainability metrics and reporting framework?
Yes, finding the right metrics is just a function of experience and try and error. But I think accountants, that's where accountants come in. Finance professionals have long been the skill sets and that function within the organization that understands reporting to the board. They know how to present report in concise manner to get the attention of targeted audience. So I think finance professionals understanding the basics and the fundamental of sustainability can help the organization think about material issues. What are the key issues for an organization? It might be the people issues, social issues. For an organization like FMCG, it could be water. How do you conserve water? I think by focusing on these areas, the material issues, and leveraging the experience of finance professionals, it becomes quite easy for organizations to identify what key metrics will be useful.
Yeah. Okay. With the next one, with a growing interest in environmental, social, and governance (ESG) factors, how can accountants help companies identify and address their most material ESG risks and opportunities?
Yes, accountants can definitely play a key role, but it's vital to state that it's a company-wide initiative. So accountants can lead that; they can be champions in their organization, but they need resources from across the organization, from engineering to sales to marketing to operations. So accountants can lead that team, but data would come from across the organization. It's also important to state that understanding what the material issues would be would take time. By getting the appropriate stakeholder engagement, it's far easier to be able to determine what are material and what stakeholders would accept as material issues.
Yes, yes. Okay. Come to our final question. Collaboration among different stakeholders is essential for addressing complex sustainability challenges. How can businesses, governments, NGOs, and the accounting profession work together to drive positive societal and environmental outcomes?
Thank you, Belinda. It's interesting that that's the 17th goal of the UN SDGs, the Sustainable Sustainability Development Goals. It's about partnerships and collaboration. So for us to achieve any success with our climate action and initiatives around the world, we need collaboration. And that collaboration would be not just governments signing on to the Paris Accord and other COP 21, 22 agenda and objectives, but also private sector taking those high-level goals by governments in their countries and cascading that down across their organizations to various business units and coming up with actionable plan to achieve that. Also, we need civil society to be the voice. We've seen young people, Gen Zs and Alpha generation are playing a key role there to ensure that we hold people to account. CEOs, the boards of organizations are held to account. It's also important to have dialogue. I think dialogue is important for organizations that get it and have a plan to curb emissions and to embed social inclusion in their strategies is important. But those that have not yet come on that journey, it's important to help them understand how they can get on the journey and they can take small steps to lead to greater change and impact.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Joseph. It has been delightful having you as our guest today, and we'll take it from here. Thank you.
The pleasure is mine. I appreciate it.